Okay, guys, it looks like we've still got a few people coming in, but we've got a lot to get through today. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can get the technology working. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can, that's for sure.
Can you still see my screen now that I've got my notes up? Perfect. Okie dokie. So, welcome everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to our latest customer webinar. This time, we're focusing on how you can get the most out of the brand new search experience within Mercury. If this is your first time joining us, I'm Jackie Sherlock and I'm the Product Marketing Manager here at Mercury. And today it is my great pleasure to be joined by our lead training consultant, the lovely Michelle O'Hare, who is joining us from a very sunny room. Michelle, thank you very much for being here with me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
No worries, I'm excited to get going.
So let's see what we've got in store today. First, I'm going to give you an update on where we are with the development and rollout of new Mercury Search. Then I'm going to highlight some of the key features and new aspects of search. Then hand over to Michelle, who's going to show you some of the ways that you can make the most out of using it. Then we'll have some time for a Q&A before I share with you some of the ways that you can get additional support as you use new search. If, as we go along, you have any questions, can I ask that you put them into the chat, or you can use the Q&A feature, and then the lovely Emily, who is moderating for us, will collate them and we'll share them all at the end rather than as we go through, just because sometimes we'll answer a question as part of the demo anyway. So we'll just hold on to them until the end, if that's okay with you all. So let's just have a look at where we are now. New Mercury Search has been in development for over a year, and we've had a dedicated team just focusing in on this vital part of Mercury. And that team's aim has been to develop a brand new search experience which is faster, more intuitive, and gives an overall better way to search. And I think it's worth saying that it is totally new. It's been built from scratch on the latest technology. Throughout the development process, we've engaged with a number of different customers for their thoughts, and that feedback has helped and continues to help us decide the direction of travel. And because new search is part of our fortnightly release timeline, we're able to work quickly on improvements and get them out to you as soon as we can. The result of this is that we now have new Mercury Search available in the search dropdown, and the previous search experience has been renamed to Legacy Search and is available in the ribbon menu. And I just want to kind of look at how we got to this point. So back in June 2024, we had version 30 of Mercury Search. Search version 2, as it was called back then, was the only search experience available from the search dropdown, and we were testing and developing new Mercury Search in the background with some customers helping us in that development. Then in version 31 that went out in October 2024, Search V2 was renamed as Legacy Search and moved to its new location in the ribbon button. Meanwhile, new Mercury Search was made available for all users from the search drop-down menu. This has remained in place during the last release that's just gone out during January, and we've seen more and more users making the move from Legacy to new search, which is brilliant. And it's the perfect time to make that move because in version 33 of Mercury, which is scheduled for around March, April time, Legacy Search will no longer be available and new search will be the only search experience within Mercury. But there are loads of great reasons to use new search, and Michelle's going to show you some of them very shortly, but I want to give you a very quick overview of some of the key features. So it's got a simplified search experience where you can build your search on a variety of criteria to develop a great selection of candidates and then apply filters to narrow down the field and find your perfect choice. Our intuitive interface makes it easy to build your search query with automatic grouping, which can then be customized to your needs, and that puts you in control of the results. And our simple to use Boolean search gives you the additional flexibility to work in the way that suits you. And you can save and share queries with your colleagues. Once you have your candidates, you can work with their record directly from the search interface, view their match suitability at a glance, or see how they compare to the search queries that you've entered by clicking result hits. This won't just tell you how many times a search criterion is in the candidate record, but where the search term appears. And Michelle's going to show you that in a bit more detail in a little while. This gives you an unprecedented level of detail about how a particular individual compares to the role that you're looking to fill, meaning that you will be delivering better candidates to your clients. And it doesn't stop there. You can access the candidate card, which gives you a wealth of information about a particular individual. Mercury Search has more fields indexed than ever before, so you can be sure that the candidates presented are the best options possible. With a wider, richer range of searching, you can be sure that the candidates you find are the right people for the role. And importantly, it's much easier to identify candidates who are active because you can search on things like when they've uploaded their CV or progressed through interview stages. And Mercury Search isn't just about finding talent, it's about taking action. You can update records, add candidates to shortlists, and place a call all from the search screen, making it easier to get your candidate in front of a hiring manager faster. And with our AI Essentials package, we've got some brilliant features designed for search. With AI suggestions on job titles, education, and tags, your search benefits from the latest data available to build the most relevant search. You don't need to keep up to date with skills information, for example. You can let the AI do that for you. And you can also use suggested terms to help build your search. All of this has been designed to make it quicker and easier to get the results you need. We've brought in a range of new filters, such as if the candidate is willing to relocate and their self-summary, as well as improving on a whole range of filters that you're used to using. Location, for example, now searches on a range of location criteria, including educational establishment and candidate self-summary to give a wider range of results. And there's brand new functionality to help make your experience richer with personalisation options, new views and tabs. Now, I know there's a lot to take in there, and we're never going to be able to cover it all on a 45-minute webinar, but what we've done is pick out 5 of our favourite top new features, and I'm now going to hand over to Michelle, who's going to go into those in more detail. Michelle, over to you.
Thanks, Jackie. So welcome, everybody. I've probably met quite a few of you on this call before, so hi, nice to see you all today. And thanks for joining us today to see the search. Now, for those that know me or know Jackie, and probably Emily as well, we're very excitable enough as it is day to day without getting to talk about something as exciting as our new search in Mercury. So yeah, it's a brilliant feature. It's a real big up to our product owners and our development team, really, because they have done a fantastic job. And as Jackie said, it's been built from scratch. It's our biggest build since I've certainly worked at Mercury. So that's why we're really shouting about it today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in. Let's get into that search. So as Jackie mentioned just now, aim of today is we know there's a lot to learn. And we're going to focus today. We're starting to roll out some videos called the top 5. Okay, so we're just going to go into certain areas of the search and talk about the top 5 best things in those areas. And then we're going to expand out into that, but that's where we're going to start to kind of help everybody out. Now, we couldn't possibly start that series without doing the best 5 new features that we've got in Mercury. And that's particularly aimed for our existing clients, of course, who have been using the legacy search and probably clinging on maybe a little bit to it, thinking it's brilliant. And it is, by the way, I love training that search. But what we've done now is we've enhanced that, and we want to make the most to show you the best new features in our new search. So number 1 that we're going to start with today is going to be here. We're in the search function. Can everyone see my screen okay? Yeah, I just need a thumbs up from you, Jackie. That's fine. So basically, we've got in here, it's very simplified these days. We've got in here a structured search, which is mainly what I'm showing you today. And then we're going to be looking at the Boolean search as well. Okay, so and then we can see in the search, we've created really simplified options because it can do a lot. And I will be showing you that today. But what we want is I've seen a lot of search systems, and the more you put in, the more it can be that you don't know where to start. So you can see ours is nice and simple. Now, number 1 in our top 5 features is going to be here. It's called keywords. And I'm sure we've showed this in the demos before, but I can't stress enough how good keywords are. So what keywords is doing is, it's just to be clear, it's searching through the candidate profile through all of the fields in that record. Okay, so it's searching through everything that's passed through a CV. Now, we all know that we use Dijkstra, or most of us use Dijkstra. There may be other parsing tools out there. And we basically parse CVs into the system, dragging that information in. So that's where keywords is searching. Now, it is the most powerful tool, hence me starting with it as number one, because technically, keywords, it searches through every record, as I mentioned, but also at the same time, believe it or not, it is also searching our tags. Yeah, or your tags, not my tags, your tags. So it's searching for keywords and tags. So when you're putting a word in here, basically, it's searching employer, it's searching tags, job title, work history, everything. So what I'd like to do before we get into this is really show you where it's searching. Okay, so I'm going to go into that now. Fabulous. Let's take a little look. So we've got a candidate in the system. As I mentioned, CV's been parsed. So it's searching through all of the fields on the actual record rather than the CV document. I can see a couple of people asking there. It's not searching the document, it's searching through those fields. Now, the reason we decided to go ahead with searching fields rather than documentation or a document is actually, one is for speed in the system and two is for storage reasons, because it's already pulling in that data. Instead of us reparsing it and pulling it all through and extracting it, it's saving storage in your system. So that's why we've gone down that route for now. Now, what I want you to understand in this search demo is where it's looking. And we know already it's searching all the fields on the front page, like the latest employer, the latest job title. Yeah, that's all come through from that CV, or you may have typed it in. If we now go to the experience tab, we can see and we know that the CV is going to be sitting here. So what I'm going to do with you is walk through the actual document and show you where the information's going in that record. And again, you may know a lot of this, but just to be sure. So we've got name, of course, and contact data at the start. We've seen that already. And actually, little tip in here, you can search by these features in some of these, like the email and the phone number in the search. But we don't want to get into that, but you can do it. Now, the top, most candidates, as we know, do put in that personal profile with bullet points. So they're going to put that at the top. If that's the case, it's pulling straight into this field here. Yeah, so we can see all that information, which means it's searchable when we use the keyword search. If we scroll down a bit further, we then go into our kind of career history, which we can see with all our bullet points again. Yeah, so we've got this listed. Above this, again, a lot of you may know that we've got our work history. So each of those sets of work history, it creates its own record in the system. So we can see all the employee names, job titles in here as well. They are all searchable fields. Okay. Now, the most important bit from all of this is the description. You can see that. Yeah, so that all of those bullet points that you've got about their experience, their industry, their knowledge, their key skills, their tech, everything is going to be in there. So that is being searched in the keywords. Okay. And as I mentioned, see, this is actually its own record, which can be edited as such. Not that we expect you to be spending much time doing this because you're busy people, but you can. You can see that all of these are fields in a record, in a work history record, which means they are searchable from that profile. Okay. Also, I will mention this, is one of the big bonuses of what we've done with the search is you can type in here. So if you do want keywords in here, you do want to edit anything in here, you can do so. Okay. So then you know that you're searching for those words. So that is the work history. Yeah, a really important part there on that description field. And then if we go to the bottom, we can see we've got an education section, which may be in some CVs. So just to show you, in the related tab, if you're looking in the Mercury section here, you will find there's an education section. So we can see quite clearly that from the CV, it's created 2 separate records for both education sections there. You can search on establishment in the new search, which you could not do before. You can search on level, which you couldn't do before, which are both brand new features. And if we actually go into one of the education records, I'll come back to this a bit later, you'll see that you've got, if they put the location of where the establishment was that they went to, when you're searching for candidates in the new location filters, you can search for people in this area as well. So you can even search by education location. Education location, I'm not sure I'll say that again. But you get what I mean. Okay, so that's basically what it's doing. So as you can see, I'm just want to bring you confidence that nearly everything in that CV is going to be searchable. Okay, and just being transparent, the only things that may or may not come over may be things like hobbies and interests. Just to let everyone know, on this particular webinar, we are working on the full CV coming into the system, or us being able to search the full CV. So there will only be a couple of things right now which are being missed off as such, or not searched. You can type them into a field somewhere for now and they will be searchable, but it is coming soon. So watch out for the release notes and Jackie's videos coming up. So yeah, put those questions in. Any questions around that you think we're missing or that you want to ask, please put them in and we'll address those at the end. Okay. So now coming back to our search, if we think about keywords in the system, then we now know what it's searching through, which is pretty much everything, to be honest. So let's pop that in. So I'm going to put in a keyword or keywords. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so we've come back into search. We put in a keyword or keywords. We know where it's searching, don't we, folks? We all know now. So it's looking through. What I'm now going to move on to is I'm doing a little bonus tip in here. So it's not one of my top 5, but I'm going to sneak it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a bit more criteria. We're going to type project manager. Notice once you type it, it gives you options from A to Z all the way down that contain project manager, but they give a specific job title. So it's looking through your system and finding the job titles. And if you select from here, it will do an exact match of whatever you've selected. But I don't want to do that. I'm just going to hit enter. And then instead of me picking something exact from that list, I'm just looking for project manager as a contains option. Okay. Then I'm going to pop in an employer, actually. So Microsoft, why not? Again, by the way, you can select an exact match or you can hit enter and it will do a contain search. Okay. So I'm now looking for a project manager with Microsoft Dynamics as the keyword, and I've got an employer of Microsoft. Now, my little top tip here, my little bonus that I'm going into is, and the reason it's a bonus is it's an additional feature called Load AI Suggestions in here. And you can see it next to these 3 options that I've put in. Okay. So if we go and click on here, let's notice I've got 14 results right now. We go to Project Manager, hit our Load AI. Then it's going to bring up other job titles in here. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is an additional feature that is a chargeable feature, and it's part of our AI package. So if you are interested in this particular feature, then do speak to your CSM and they can speak to you about this. But just to show, I want to show you what it can do, the power of the AI package. So it's suggesting other job titles that are similar to the one that I'm looking at without me having to do anything. Yeah, it's picking up those top results. I'm having a look through and actually I'm thinking they look pretty good and I should have put them myself, but I don't have to, do I? Because I've got AI. So I'm going to take out Scrum Master, but the rest I'm quite happy with, actually, in Team Lead. And I've got an extra result. Okay, not as many in this search. Let's take a look at the keywords. There's load AI suggestions in here. So I was looking at Dynamics, and again, it's starting to give me ideas. Yeah, what other systems that I could be looking for in those keywords, again, that I may not have thought of, or I may have, but I may not have. Again, unselect any you don't want to use. Now look at my results in there. Yeah, it's really starting to boost them up. So it's finding people in my database that I may not have thought of. And then again, I find this one the most interesting actually, because I probably would think of other people than Microsoft. You know, I probably would think of maybe Google, but there's certain companies that I may not have think of building in that kind of Boolean that are sitting there in the system. Okay. So now my results are really getting up there a little bit just from using that AI feature. Okay. So that was kind of number one was my keywords. My little bonus tip in there were the AI suggestions in there. And then I'm going to move into my second best feature. I say mine like it's all about me. It's our second best feature. Okay, so basically we're going to go into number 2, which is result hits. This is short and sweet. You like this? Because basically it is what it says. Like people are always forever asking, you know, where are those results coming from? We can see that when I've got my results, they are in a top order. So I'm matching them. So blue is always your best. Then you go into your greens, then into your yellows. Then so it's matching those. And people are like, how have I got this person here? Well, if you click this, there you go, it'll tell you. So it's telling me my job title, project manager, was found twice in previous job titles. Awesome. Great start. I know it's not the current job title though. It's clearly told me that. So then if I come down, keywords, Microsoft Dynamics, we can see it's been mentioned in there 19 times. Yeah, in different places, it tells you exactly where it's coming from. So we can see that in that progress as well. Now, notice I've then got AI suggestions under keywords. If I click on that, because I've used that tool, it's also found SAP in there as well, in a job description, and Oracle, and SharePoint in there. Yeah, all things that I hadn't put in, but it has suggested those, and it's really helped me enhance and boost that person up as my top person. And then it does look like this person's got a lot of experience in there with Microsoft. So perfect. Just what I wanted. Yeah. So I know that person, where it's come from, if that's right for me, and then I can go in and start looking at that particular profile and then contacting that candidate. So that's our result hits. Okay. Again, any questions, throw those into that chat. At the same time, I believe Emily will also pop in a article. Oh, she's done it already. She's so good. So smooth. And then basically that's going to explain kind of how the match rating works and how the result hits works as well. Okay. Fabulous. Right. Before I move into point number 3, it's when we start getting a bit more serious, folks. Okay. I want to mention on a filter quickly. I'm not going to go into these filters too much right now, but our free text one, if we pop a location in and hit enter, what it will do for you is it shows you exactly what is being searched. So it's searching for London in city, county, state, and country. It's pretty good because we've actually seen a lot of data being in mixed fields, so it kind of just does that wide sweep for you. But what I'm really focusing on here is, do you remember earlier when I went into the education and we could see the establishment and the level and the location? We can also choose to then search for candidates by the location of their education establishment, which is brilliant. So no matter whether you're working in the perm kind of sectors or if you're working in contracts, you might have a candidate who might be very, very happy to go back to where they were when they were kind of studying. They might have friends there, so they might be more likely to relocate back there or to work there in a contract role. So it's something that you can then use as well in those location options. And I've not seen this in a search before, so it's a brilliant new feature. And also, wasn't going to go into this, but you can choose to also search in that candidate self-summary. So they may have noticed something particular in that statement about themselves, somewhere where they may have lived before or somewhere they're interested in. So, a couple of other little bonus tips there, folks. Right, let's remove that and get into point number 3. I am going to remove some of these to get a few more results. Let's get these here. Yeah, let's keep it like that. Okay. Point number 3, this is great for everybody, is finding how to find your active candidates. And by active, we do not mean are they active or inactive in Mercury. Oh no, it's much more exciting than that. We're talking about candidates where you might think, I'm looking for a project manager. I want them to have X experience, whatever that may be in your industries. I want to know that this person's looking for work. That's the key thing. Okay, I want to know that they are actually interested in speaking to me, they're approachable, and they're suitable. This is where the filters get brilliant. Okay, so where we're going to go is you've got filters in here. You've got last CV received, which, by the way, we did have in the legacy search, but it's much more improved and easy to use. You've got last application. This is brand new, this filter. Yeah, so for those of you that are using a multi-poster out there and you're advertising through Mercury, which is a lot of you, then any candidates that have applied to those adverts, you can then go in the candidate search and say, I want to see people that have applied in the less, in whatever period. So we're going to go in and go, right, CV last received, click on that. I want someone that sent their CV in to me. They must be interested in work or at least considering something since the 16th of December. Now, I will point this out. At the moment, it's got a default to search on logic. But if you click on it, you can then go in and change that to after. Yeah, so anyone that's sent a CV since the 16th of December. We are, by the way, working on that filter, and we are going to be changing that to after very soon. Now, I also would consider someone who's also applied for one of our jobs in our system since the 16th. Notice that also puts that in, that's an after. And if any of you out there that are using the situation field in Mercury, you may be using this. I would consider someone that's actively looking or that's available. Yeah, so we've been speaking to them, they've said they're looking, they said they're free, we're like, brilliant, perfect. Now, there are other options, by the way, to get these in the search. These aren't normally in here. You come down to add more search terms, and you'll notice you've got in here last application, CV last received, situation. Just to point out, you do have last called and last contacted. Yeah, some really nice options in here. The reason I'm not using these today is you might be picking up the phone and they might say, I'm not interested or I'm happy with where I am. Yeah, so it's not necessarily guaranteeing they are looking for work right now. I really want to hone in to people that have made it clear they're sending their CV or they're applying for jobs. Yeah, so I'm keeping mine very specific. Now, you might be thinking, where's my results, to be fair? Where have they gone? Don't worry. This is when we want to start getting into talking about group logic. So if I click into edit structure, this is where you can start seeing how the logic's been built. So we know we've used the search part to build in the job title, and we've also put in a keyword as well. That's looking pretty good. So we've got job title, a project manager, and Microsoft Dynamics as a keyword. Awesome. If we look on the filters, which is what I've just built, so that's over here, we've then got CV last received after the 16th of December, but notice it's gone to and last application of 16th December and these situations. And I want it to be an or logic. So it's so simple. You can literally change this from an and to an or. Notice there's a little sneaky and not in there. We're not using that today, but you can use it when you like. Or you can very simply, this is how easy it is to drag and drop in here. I prefer to just drag and put these all together up here. So even we had drag and drop in legacy, but it's even better if that's even possible to get a better drag and drop. We've done it. And you can see, again, no results because it's and logic, but all we do is swap it to an or. Yeah, so now I've got project managers that have Microsoft Dynamics and they've either sent a CV, applied for a job, or said that they are actively looking or available. So we know that they're people that are likely to respond to an email or an e-shot or a phone call. Great. Now, one more thing. This, again, was in legacy search. For those of you that knew it or know it well, it's called vacancy shortlist status. Now, for those of you using the system, which hopefully is all of you on this call, we can see that we can choose to filter, by people, the candidates have shortlisted or got to a certain stage of the interview process, or the shortlist process. So I want to say, I would consider people that have got to one of the interview stages. Now, this is improved because in legacy search, it used to search people that were currently at that stage. But now what it does is it searches anyone someone that's ever been at that stage. So they might be first interview at one point, and they're now accepted at this very point. But that would still find that person based on the fact that they were at first interview stage. Okay, so it's not necessarily they're at that stage now, it's that they've got to that stage at some point. So it's a big improvement. Now, next thing, we've made it so flexible for you to pick a period of time. So you can see, you could either look in the last day, at the last one day, someone that got to one of those stages. Very specific that would be, but you never know what you want. Or it could be the last 10 years. Yeah, you could go and do as many years as you want. Not that you'd go that far, but just saying. So I'm going to stick to my theme of about 6 weeks. So I think that's quite a decent period. Totally down to you guys what you're putting in, obviously. Notice it's built that logic in here for me. So interview first, further, or final. I say the word or, it's got and. So I'm going to change that to or. Yeah, so we've got interview first, they got to interview first, further, or final, or they sent in their CV, yeah, they applied for a job, or they've got this situation. So I hope you're kind of seeing how exciting this can be. Yeah, that you can see people will literally say they've got to this point, they've sent in a CV, you can narrow it as much as you want. I've kept mine quite wide, but still at the same point, I know they're going to be receptive, or they're likely to be receptive or responsive. So that's the point. So that is point number 3, which is searching for your active candidates. Okay. Right, we are going to move on to, do you know what? We knew we couldn't do this webinar without talking about point number 4, which is Boolean. I mean, we're going there, folks. We're going to Boolean. So I am going to clear my filters before I forget and get no results, which is never fun. Now, for those out there that are into Boolean strings, which, I mean, we'd like to know who that is out there, so maybe say hello or say let us know maybe. We know that not everyone, you don't have to use them, and our structured search is brilliant. So if you just want to use the keywords and the other filters, you go on and do that, because that's what I'm doing all the time. But for those of you that have built those Boolean strings and they've been waiting for a day they can use them in Mercury, that day has come. You can use them. So basically, up here, you can either build a string. Yeah, so you can start typing in your logic, or one I prepared earlier, folks. I am just stealing one in here. You can either hit enter or you can hit search. Totally down to you. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm not going to be here to teach you Boolean. You could probably teach me a thing or two. But yeah, so basically Boolean will go in here, paste it in, build it up. One thing to note, you have got an info bit at the top. Please look at this, because it will tell you it definitely is case sensitive. Okay. Yes, you can copy and paste in. That is one question I just happened to catch. But yeah, so basically it's case sensitive. So some search functions you can put or not, or and in a lowercase. Mercury, you must put an uppercase or use the things that's directed in the info in there. So please look out for that. Also, not only can you build your Boolean or paste it in, you're done, but you can even use the filters. I know, is that good? So I could say, right, here's a Boolean string, but I want someone that applied in the last 2 weeks. Done. Yeah, really narrowed down got the Boolean and narrowed down with that data as well. I'm not going to go into this too much. We know what Boolean is. I just couldn't do this without mentioning it. One thing I will mention, I know it's one of Jackie's favourites, is at the top up here you can go and you can see related terms up here. So it starts bringing up options that are probably closely linked to what you're typing in. So I could say, and I want this, and it's just putting it straight into there for you. So it's helping you, give you suggestions. Yeah, key suggestions on what's going to work in that Boolean. I'm going to end up with nothing in a minute. I am just picking anything, as you can see, but you get the idea. It's going to be relevant to you, and you can start adding those in. Okay. So number 4 was Boolean. We're going to move on to number 5, our last point, and probably a good timing because they're going to want to answer some questions. So folks, last thing, you can really make this search your own, and that's what we want to get into. Okay, so why we say making your own? Top right up here, we've got in here language selector. We know we're speaking to a lot of big global clients or smaller global clients or people that are around the world. So you can, wherever you're based, we will then be speaking to you and be able to put your language set in here so that when you're using this as part of the system, you can then select the language you're speaking in or you're reading in, which is brilliant. And the top language in here you can see after English is Welsh, which obviously the top one we'd expect. No, seriously. So your languages will be in here. If they're not, please speak to your CSM and we'll get those in there as well. Next thing, I think Emily's going to put some polls in here for some of these as well, is selecting your view. Now we want to know, because this is quite interesting for us actually. You can see at the moment I've got a list of tiles in here that are showing my results. You can choose to select the view and change that to a list in here. Oh, I've got to go get to poll as well. So basically, you can see instead that you've got a list of information rather than a tile. Now, I will give you a couple of benefits of both. Oh no, I'm going to have to stop talking, aren't I, Jackie? All right, guys, I get too excited, I told you. All right, I'll calm down, but I'll just make it quick. You can select people from here. You can choose to add in the columns you want, and you can drag and drop the columns. I've kept it short. All right, I've been good. Thanks. And basically, you can choose to use a list, or you can, like I say, go back and use those tiles. You want to know, what do you prefer, list or your tiles? So last thing, nearly, haha. Okay, select your theme. Okay, so this is definitely the most important poll, of course. What colour? Now, are you very likely to be, how nice is this that you can make it look how you want it to? Yeah, your own language, tile or list. Choose to go in and select your theme and make it just how you want it to look. Okay, so we're interested to know what you think. We love it. It's nice that you can do that. And before I hand back over, just a couple of things. One, there's a what's new bit at the top here, just to point out that we're doing 2-week kind of release training there. So we're doing sprints in there every 2 weeks. So you can come in and click in and see exactly what is new and what we've done in here. So you can come and see this at any time. And also, I was going to go into this, but you know what? I'm going to stop right there. I think we're on good timing. So I hope you've enjoyed that and the kind of content we've done today. Like I say, we wanted to really focus on the best features we've got. We'll do another one soon if Jackie lets me, because I could keep talking. And we really want to get into the results and what you can do. But for today, that's where we're going to leave it. So thanks for listening and passing it back to Jax, please. Thanks. I can't hear you, Jackie, I don't think.
There I am. Can you hear me now?
Yay! Yay!
Brilliant. So yeah, I was just saying thank you very much for that. I love watching you use search because you're about as excited as I am about it. So I think that's always fun. We have got lots of questions, quite a lot of them around the CV and Dijkstra. So I think we might have covered most of this when you were demoing, but essentially at the moment the CV, as I understand it, needs to be parsed through Dijkstra to be able to be incorporated in the way that you explained it. For the people that have asked about that as well, we are looking at the moment of ways that we can parse this, that we can search on the text of the CV and parse the CV that way. So that's something that's in progress at the moment, and I will of course let you all know as and when we have more information about that. Emily, I'll hand over to you now. You can moderate for us if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to skip through a couple of the CV questions because I think they ended up being covered. And I'll actually start in the Q&A first. So the first question we got of the day was, is there any reports available to determine how many of our users are using Mercury Search? And if so, what they're searching for?
I'm not sure about that one, to be fair. I was just having a think. I'm sure we got asked that recently. I'm just trying to think what was the result.
I think we had a response from Saskia saying, yes, if you talk to your CSM, they'll be able to sort that out for you.
Okay, brilliant. Cool.
Perfect. I will mark that one as answered. And then second one in the Q&A, I believe this was answered when you gave an extra tip, but I'll just clarify in case there's anything more to add.
Yeah.
Is it possible to only search the current location of the candidate taken from the home address fields on the general page and not anywhere else, such as education, location, employment?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you can, and that is what's different in the search. There's another feature actually. So you'll notice in the features, the filter here, you've got a location free text and location distance. So if you think of location distance, that's how it used to search in the legacy search, where you'd put in a postcode or a location like a town or city or a state, and it would search a distance. Yeah, so distance is going to be like a radius around that particular area. The free text, back to the question, is when you type it in, it's searching the home address on the front page. So that's when, if I just put in London there and hit enter, it's telling you that it's searching the home address. It's not saying the home address, but it's showing you it's the city or the county or the state or the country in the home address fields. And if you purely want it to be city, you can just unselect it. It will just be that one field. So yeah.
Amazing. Then we've got a question about something that's not available, but I will ask it anyway. It's currently we cannot filter for employment status, contractor, temporary, permanent. When will this be possible as it's essential?
So that should be in there actually. It should be under the let's have a little look. Salary. One sec. Let's try and remove that out. It's just a little bit different, and we are working on narrowing it down. So I get your point, whoever's asked that. So under salary here, you've got perm, contract, or temporary, but what it's done is it's combining it with a kind of salary or rate logic in there as well. So you're not just ticking this and then that's it. It's combined. So if it was permanent, for example, if you do all, it's searching for all of these anyway, current, expected, etc. And you would just have to put in one, and you just have to put a really high number. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just, you just put in minimum to max to get all the perm people in your system, and then add salary to filters basically, and then it will search through all your perms. But what we're looking at doing is simplifying that so that you could just tick perm rather than having to put those numbers in. So for now, that's what I would do, and we're looking at improving that. Yeah. So.
Amazing. Another one in the Q&A is, will the ability to spec send to clients and add CVs via regarding be added to the new search? This was in legacy search and is needed. Yes,
I do, or it's needed, and it definitely was in legacy search. We are speaking to product about that. It's on the radar. We've raised it a couple of times, so it's definitely coming out. So the more we raise it, by the way, what we mean by that is we're more likely to get a quicker response. So keep raising it. But yes, it's coming soon.
Perfect. Sorry, let me just skim through a couple of the CV related ones to get to. So what's the best way to review these matches and sift them? I think that was when you were talking about the color coding section.
Yes, that's correct. So if we get in there, let's just pop in this, for example. Let's get our results. So yeah, we didn't get too much into results in this one, but it's a great question. So when you have your set of results, you can either have them in that list, or you can have them in the tiles, and you just click view detail. And once you do that, don't get me started in here, I'll be another half an hour. Because it's so good. It looks so much better, it's so much cleaner. But anyway, I'll keep it short.
We can do a separate session on this if you want.
I'm about to say, calm me down. But basically, all I'm going to say is that you've got a next and previous button at the bottom, so you can scroll through your results, and there's a lot of things you can do in there. So think of things like being able to log calls and work through and see the data in there. But I'll stop there. It's just I'd go and view results and work through that list. So.
Perfect. Another one is kind of CV related, but not as they were. So it's with CV last received. Does that include self-pars resumes as well, or would they need to be an external applicant?
No, self-pass as well. Yeah. Yep, as long as it's gone through Daxtra, then you're fine. Yeah.
And then I'm not sure what this was related to, but it says, can you do the exact same search as you did with the structured search, just keyword and job title?
Let me think. With the structured one, was that, I'm just trying to think of what as in. Oh, right, okay. So is that I'm just trying to think of whether that was when I did at the beginning, or whether it's when I did all the.
Yeah, I think it's the very first one, just keyword and job title.
As in, can we do that in just keywords? Was that the question? Sorry.
In structured.
Yeah, I mean, it naturally, when you're putting those in, it naturally goes into the structured area anyway. If you know what I mean, it's kind of hidden. It's only if you want to change the logic and see the structured search that you click in to edit structure, and then it opens it out, and then you can see how it's actually building, basically. I hope that answered the question. If it didn't, ask another. Sorry.
One around languages. Can they request additional languages?
As far as I know, yes. We've not been told there's a limit on that. We've just been told if you need the language, it can be added. So as far as I'm aware, yes, you can.
Perfect. And then a question about being walked through something is, can you walk us through saving the search to a job and moving candidates from search to the shortlist for a specific job?
Yeah, I can. So I don't want to keep it too long, but what you can do, yeah, 100%, is the filters. So let me show you where to go, at least in this part for you. And then basically what you're getting at here is being able to then, you see where it says vacancy, you can then search for a specific vacancy on there, either by the job title or by the vacancy reference number or the client, like you've always been able to do that kind of search. And then you can select that particular vacancy and it will look. So that's that one thing I'm mentioning, is you finding a vacancy in here and being able to see the results. The other question is more part of the question, I think, is just in the options, you can add somebody to a shortlist. Yeah, so you can go add to shortlist. And what it does on the right hand side, it builds a shortlist for you. And you can click here to select a vacancy. Yeah, and search for the vacancy, and it adds those candidates to the shortlist for you.
Perfect. Another one, the last application feature. Are these applicants from LinkedIn job posts or from our company website, or both?
So as far as I'm aware, so last application, it's using usually either Broadbean, Idaboo or Logic Melon. So if you're using one of those multi-posters inside of Mercury, so you're posting out the advert via one of those multi-posters, so they go to the job sites individually through that, then if they're then applying the candidates through that, then the responses will come in, and that's what's counted as the last application.
This kind of is search related, kind of not. How can I have templates for email for candidates and clients?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so whoever your administrator is in the business will be able to create email templates for you in the kind of config section of Mercury. And then when you're then adding candidates to an email list, so you're going to add to email, then when you go to email here, you could have a template. Do you see what I mean? That's already put in there. So when you're bulk sending it out, it's already pre-written for you. So any admins in your business will be able to do that, or hopefully can. If not, speak to your CSM and I shall train them.
In fear of staying on the call for too long, we have got a couple more. If you guys are okay to run through these.
Of course. Yeah.
We've got one that's, where can we raise feature requests for search?
Best thing is to speak to whoever your main contact is in your business that speaks to your CSM, so it's got that relationship with them, then just raise any points to them and they can bring them to your CSM, basically, and then they'll put them forward, raise cases with the product team.
Yeah. We've had a question around language setting. Can you show us one more time the language setting where we can change it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it was
so
at the
top right. Yeah, up here you've got, this is where you can select and make the system your own little bit. So you've got select language and you'll have the options in here. So they should be preset, accordingly to your system to where you're based. And if they're not in there, then again, speak to your CSM and they can get those added.
Amazing. The last question got answered already in the chat, so that is it from the question side. Back to you, Jackie.
Perfect, thank you very much. Right, I'm just going to share my screen again for a second. Hopefully you should see that come up. So just before we finish, I want to let you know about where you can find some more information to support you. First of all, we've got the knowledge base, which is full of useful information about how to get the best out of Mercury, and it's got a whole section on search, so it's a really good place to go to find out everything you need. And we add things to it all the time, so make sure you bookmark it in your browser. And of course, it wouldn't be a session with me without me going on about how brilliant our user community is. If you aren't already a member, please sign up. It really is fantastic. You'll get all of the latest news and information about what's happening with Mercury, as well as gaining insight from other Mercury users and from our team as well. In addition, Michelle and I are in the process of putting together some videos that will go into the various aspects of search, and I'll post links to those as soon as they're ready. You can always talk to your CSM, who will be happy to help. And after today's session, we will send out this recording of this video, and I'll put some really helpful links for you as well in that email, so that you've got things that you can refer to there. But for now, that's it. I've just got to say a massive thank you to Michelle again for her brilliant demo. I really appreciated it. Thank you to Emily, as always, for being hostess extraordinaire. And thank you all for taking the time to spend the afternoon with us. We really appreciate it. We know how busy you all are. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon at our next customer webinar. Thank you all. Take care.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.